IVF failure hurts far more than most people expect. It is not just a medical setback, it is a psychological shock. When an IVF cycle fails, patients don't just lose a pregnancy attempt. They lose hope, certainty, and a sense of control over their future. Life starts revolving around injections, scans, embryos, and dates. And then one blood test brings everything to a halt. What makes this especially difficult is that no one prepares patients for how emotionally exhausting IVF can be. After a failure, many people start blaming themselves. They wonder if they did something wrong, if their body has failed them, or if they made the wrong decisions. Some feel deep sadness and grief for a baby they had already imagined. Others feel anger, frustration, or shame. These emotions are not signs of weakness. They are normal human responses to loss and repeated disappointment. One of the biggest myths in fertility treatment is that staying positive is enough. Telling patients to relax or think happy thoughts does not heal emotional pain. In fact, it often makes people feel guilty for feeling sad. IVF failure deserves to be acknowledged as a real loss, and grief needs time and space. Suppressing these emotions usually makes things worse and can lead to anxiety, burnout, or depression later. There are a few practical steps that can help. The first is to separate your identity from the outcome of IVF. You are not your AMH value, you are not your embryo grade, you are not a blood test result. IVF is something you are doing, it does not define who you are as a person. The second is to protect your mental space. Constantly comparing yourself to success stories online can be damaging. What you see on social media is selection bias. For every success story, there are many silent failures that are never shared. Limit exposure to content that increases guilt or despair. Third, try to ensure that IVF does not consume your entire life. Make time for relationships, conversations, and activities that have nothing to do with fertility treatment. You are allowed to experience joy even while trying to conceive. Finally, it is important to recognize when professional help is needed. If sadness lasts for weeks, if anxiety feels constant, if sleep or appetite is disturbed, or if your relationship is suffering, psychological support can be extremely helpful. Seeking help is not a sign that you are failing, it is a sign that you are taking care of yourself. Your mental health is just as important as your physical treatment. IVF is challenging enough without carrying emotional distress alone. If you have questions, doubts, or fears, whether medical or emotional, you can get clear, reliable answers for free using our IVF chatbot, powered by AI and based on my 40 years of clinical experience. It can help you stay informed, grounded, and confident as you navigate your IVF journey. Who expose bad medicine? A good doctor welcomes questions. A bad doctor feels threatened by them. Second, you reduce fear. Most anxiety in IVF does not come from injections or procedures. It comes from not knowing what is happening and why it is being done. Third, and most important, you take ownership of your decisions. IVF is not a pizza order. There is no best treatment. There are only options, each with pros, cons, costs, and consequences. When a doctor says, "Don't worry, just trust me," that is a red flag. Trust is built on information, not authority. You have the right to ask why this test is needed, why this treatment is being suggested, what happens if you don't do it, what the alternatives are, and what the success rates are for someone like you. A doctor's job is not to command, it is to explain. Your job is not to obey, it is to decide. The best patients are not passive. They are curious, informed, and engaged. There are no stupid questions in medicine, only expensive silence. If you have doubts about IVF tests, treatment plans, success rates, or costs, don't rely on Google or WhatsApp forwards. Use Dr. Malpani's IVF chatbot, a free, unbiased tool powered by over 40 years of IVF experience. Ask your questions, get clear answers, and make decisions you will not regret.